Hey guys, EDDBUD here. I'm back with a video discussing 3 new running shoes that I'm particularly excited about. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you press the subscribe button down here and hit the bell for notifications as well, so that you're informed of when new videos are released. Let's get straight to it. There's 3 new running shoes coming out in the very near future that I am particularly interested to try. The first of those is the Adidas UltraBoost 2020. The new 2020 version of the UltraBoost features some design nods from both previous versions of the UltraBoost, the 2018 and the 2019 reboot. The UltraBoost was a shoe that I first encountered in 2018 and put a considerable number of miles into. I think it's about over 200 miles possibly into my version 3 UltraBoost. They held up really well, I have to be honest. The outsole showed very little in terms of wear, and it was a shoe that I was very happy to run in. It's always a very comfortable shoe for those lower pace miles. That side was a little bit of a heavy shoe, but it's still a shoe that I'm very excited to see develop and change. As other technologies move forward, Adidas are having to adapt the UltraBoost model to keep up with those other shoe manufacturers. So the UltraBoost 2020 is going to feature that same standard prime knit, although I do believe that there are some modifications to that prime knit this time around. It's redesigned and certain sections of it do look very slightly thicker than the previous versions. It looks like there's some slightly differing patterns in the forefoot weave, right at the sort of toe box area of the shoe. The cage of the 2019 model has been modified for this new 2020 model. The cage of the 2019 model wasn't always really received very well in terms of its aesthetics. People just didn't really like the way it looked. So I think that they've kind of redesigned this. It does seem a little bit more flush to the side of the shoe. I think it's more in keeping with the sort of classic version of the shoe, really, the version 1 or version 2. So they've kind of taken some design nods from all of the recent versions, kind of put them together. I think this is a real best of. This shoe really looks fantastic to me aesthetically. I just really hope it performs in a similar fashion to the V3 and V4 that I really enjoyed wearing. It seems like there's less depth to that cage around the midfoot, and they've brought back those contrasting stripes on the cage compared to that translucent version which you had in the 2019 model. So keep your eyes open for this one. Adidas are set to launch that in early December 2019. Next up is the Nike React Infinity Run. I've worn several React based midsole shoes over the last couple of years. This one really excites me. I've enjoyed running in the Terra Kyger 5 with its React midsole, and I really enjoyed the Zoomfly Flyknit, which had that React midsole too, and the carbon fiber plate. Both shoes for me were exceptionally comfortable. I find React to be an incredibly durable midsole material, but yet responsive too. Even with the increased stack height in the Zoomfly Flyknit, I still felt that that was a more stable shoe due to the React within the midsole. So the Nike React Infinity Run is set to launch in January of 2020. Nike have very much set out their stall with this shoe as being the one to take over in terms of the stability sort of market. They have the Structure 22, which I have very mixed feelings about. My wife wore the Structure 22 for a while. It caused her more problems really than I think it solved. She had some really bad knee issues after wearing that shoe, after being recommended to wear it. So I do have a few mixed feelings about very highly structured shoes. And I think the manufacturing world are sort of moving away from that a little bit. The trend seems to be these shoes that improve recovery times, provide some stability, but using different methods, rails rather than very rigid midsole and outsole sections to kind of correct any sort of pronation. I think that this shoe really is moving with the times in terms of all the other manufacturers and the way they're going with handling stability. So lots and lots of React in the midsole here. I think there's something like 24-25% more React in the midsole than the Nike Epic React. This shoe's very much set out as the injury minimizing shoe, although I'm pretty sure that most running shoes really are there to minimize injury and impact. So certainly something like this, you know, with the Zoom X, it really does minimize impact. Nike's got a load of research where they've compared the React Infinity Run to the Structure 22. Seems like a bit of an odd choice, really. The Structure 22 is a sort of heavily structured stability shoe, whereas this Infinity React doesn't really seem like that type of shoe. As I say, I've got my doubts whether a very highly structured stability shoe like that really solves problems. I think it perhaps solves some and creates other problems for certain runners. I think forcing people to go against their natural kind of movement seems like a very jarring action. Though I'm no professional, it does seem to create more, or at least different problems for those who pronate. Though I think we have to consider that no one's running mechanics are absolutely perfect. Nobody really has a perfect running gait. This certainly is a shoe I'm excited to try. So Nike tested this shoe on over 226 runners over a 12-week period, and the Nike React Infinity Run came out as having 52% less injuries. Well, okay, that's quite a lot of runners, yes, to test against, but what can we tell from that? I don't know. It's certainly going to be a softer shoe than something like the Structure 22. I'd suggest with a little bit more cushioning, that quite responsive React cushioning, then perhaps that's accountable to some of the results. Who knows? There's a Flyknit upper on the Infinity Run. It says it's a lofted Flyknit upper. It does seem quite different to the Flyknit that's on the Vaporfly there, the 4%. It seems like perhaps a softer knit. It'd be very interesting to see just how soft that is. Certainly with winter coming up, is it going to be a shoe that you can use all the time in very, very cold weather? Flyknit's not really ideal for that purpose. Sometimes it can get quite cold. It's already cold here. It's starting to drop to sort of 0, maybe -2, which for us Brits is quite cold. We're not really prepared for that. We're a little bit soft in that aspect, but it's certainly a consideration for me. Is this shoe really going to hold up over those winter months? Could be that it's just too breathable. As I said before, 25% more of that React material in the midsole, and it certainly seems like there's a wider surface area on that landing kind of platform on the outsole. It really does seem to me that Nike's going for this type of style. This is the Carbon X here from Hoka, a shoe I really enjoyed running in earlier this year. It's certainly got a much wider landing area. Although the Nike Infinity Run does seem to curve in here around the midfoot area. A lot of YouTubers are comparing the Infinity Run to the Structure 22. I don't really feel that it's a reasonable comparison. I think the Structure 22's really got more in common with something like the Pegasus, really, with the fly wires, mesh upper, and the Zoom Air unit in the midsole. It seems they've increased the blown rubber on the outsole of the Infinity Run, and that was always a bit of an issue with the Epic React in the past. There just wasn't enough of that rubber in the forefoot area of the shoe, and it seemed to wear down very quickly, especially with this trend of having these midsole outsole combinations all in one. I think that that's perhaps Nike's idea. Hang on, we need more rubber there to maximize the potential longevity of the shoe. This one's released on January 3rd via the Nike Run Club app, and then a full release should be around the 16th of January, but I can't wait that long for it. I'm hoping Father Christmas might be able to help me out. Skechers is a brand I've been really keen to try, but living in the UK, it's just really tough to get hold of them. Why do you make it so hard, Skechers, for us to get your shoes? I want to wear them. I want to wear them. I can't find them. They're just never here. I go in shop after shop, and they've just got the last year's models, the previous models. Nobody seems to know about the new models that you have released. I need to calm down. There's a target market here, guys. If someone from Skechers is listening, please get us some shoes over here to the UK. We want to try them. They don't seem to have their finger on the pulse in the shops here, the bricks and mortar Skechers stores. Really need to address that. I'm a little hesitant to take a gamble online with sizing of shoes, certainly ones I haven't tried it before, so until I can try some out in a bricks and mortar store, I'm a little bit hesitant. Though I'm very keen to test out the forthcoming Skechers Go Run Ride 8 Hyper. The naming conventions are very confusing, very long. I think it perhaps alienates sort of casual or fringe buyers of the shoes if the naming convention is just too long and too confusing. I haven't been able to find this shoe anywhere in the UK yet. Availability seems very slim. I am very keen to get hold of one. Or two, really. I really need two, don't I, to It'd be a bit weird just wearing one of them. I can't give you my honest opinions if I'm just wearing one of the shoes. So that Ride 8 Hyper has a new refined upper. I think quite a lot of shoes say that though, don't they? They've refined the upper. It's a little more refined, you know, it sits there in its smoking jacket, drinking a vintage bourbon. Most have mentioned that the shoe is true to size. I think there's a couple of people mentioned it's a little long perhaps, but it does appear to be true to size. Midsole has this Hyperburst. It looked quite exciting actually. So the Hyperburst midsole starts off as this kind of very small, almost like a bean kind of looking thing, and then they expose it to CO2, which then expands the EVA material out, filling it with loads of air bubbles. 6mm drop on that one. There's Goodyear rubber on the outsole. You know I like tyre rubber on my outsoles. Continental. I think the price point on that Skechers Go Run Ride 8 Hyper. Did I get it right? Go Run Grr 8. Yeah, why didn't they call it that? The Grr 8 Hyper. That's much better. They could do some sponsorship with Frosties. I think the price point's just right for that. I think it's very competitive actually, if you're comparing it to other sort of faster tempo type day shoes. Yeah, they've got some serious competition to try and beat this Rincon here. I'm really enjoying that one. I'm really enjoying that one, baby. Yeah. I think it'd be a good shoe to pair up against something like the Turbo 2 from Nike, the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel, the Hoka Oni Oni Rincon, and the Adios 4. There's said to be a lot of spring in that midsole. People saying it is very, very responsive, very springy. That feels like there's a lot of energy return there. And it's a really reasonable price. So that's the 3 shoes that I'm most looking forward to over in the next couple of months. So I'm really keen to get hold of all 3 if I can. Father Christmas, Santa, if you're listening, I've been a good boy this year. So please comment below and tell me what shoes you are most excited to try out over the next few months heading into 2020. What have you got on your Christmas list this year? Get down in the comments there. Please remember to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Please give the video a thumbs up like and share it with your friends. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.